Okay, so hopefully you've downloaded Netbeans. This is the general Netbeans website right here. It's a much better editor, and we'll be using that going forward. So if you want to see how things would look on your end, you definitely want to get this editor. Although again, you're free to edit it in any editor that you like. This is a free editor. It's got color coding hints, and you'll see some of those displayed here, and projects, which we'll get to eventually. Now, you may run into an issue if you decide to download the full version that you need the Java development kit. So here's a website that will actually download both of them together. You want to make sure that you get NetBeans 7.4. And on your computer, you will have to have administrative rights. It will ask, for an administrator password if your account isn't an administrative account. So let's look at NetBeans here. You see, this is NetBeans 7.4. It's splashed right there. I had 7.3, and it's missing some of the features that we're going to look at in 7.4. Now, you may have a startup screen. You can close that, or just right from here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file. Now, the new file is going to ask us what type, and that's how it helps with its color coding. Here, we're going to click on Other, and we're going to say that this is an HTML file. After hitting Next, it asks what's the name of the file and where you want to save it. Now, I found that this Browse button doesn't seem to work, but if I just want to put it on my desktop, I can type desktop, and you notice that it tells you that the target folder doesn't exist, and then we'll be okay once it does. Now I'm going to call this HTML file that's it. And here we go. We got the initial HTML file, and you can see that it's got some nice things here. First of all, it's got the doc type, which should be there, and a nice little layout. Now, here's a couple things we're going to do. First of all, we're going to delete these two lines right here. Okay, you want to delete those meta tags. Notice here that we have comments. Anything between these right here is not seen in the HTML document at all. Now, it's saying here that you've got to supply a title and have it do something. Now I'm going to save that, and I'll just hit Control S, but I could also mouse click over to save. Okay, and now I'll go to my desktop, double click on it, and there you see that it has mine as the title and Hello World. Okay, so we're going to creep into JavaScript, which is a programming language that, although it is interpreted, it is also procedural, which means that it just doesn't go down the page executing things as it runs into it. And you'll see that, but we're going to creep into it just a little bit. So we got this JavaScript function, not really a JavaScript function, but this attribute of image called onClick. And what onClick will do is it'll say, give me the JavaScript function I should execute. Okay, so we're going to just do a simple one that's alert. And this is the beginning of JavaScript. And JavaScript, if we were to actually write it, would be in between these two scripts, but we're not going to get to there yet. We're just going to do an image on click and see how we do that here. What we want to do is, you see here, when I first type, it says, well, look at it, I've got all these commands that you can choose from A to, I believe it goes to Z, but let's see, A to T. Okay, but if I start to type like I, it says, oh, here's all the I's, M, there's these right here, and we're just going to go with image. I can hit enter, and now what are my attributes? Well, I know that I want to have source, and look at, I typed in S, and it says, oh, there's 3 attributes you can have: style, and I want source. So arrow down and hit enter, and it nicely says, okay, I want that source in quotes. Now let me go find an image. Now here's some nice images here. If I click on this, now even though it says copy image URL, you have to be careful and make sure that it's actually going to do that. So if I could look down here, you can see that it actually has quite a long URL there that wraps it into the Google image page. So I'm going to visit the page. Here I see now we've got an image. And if I copy the image URL, paste it, see, I've got a nice image here. It says serverlead.org. They've got it in some folders all the way down to a JPEG called Have a Nice Day. Okay, now you see this error here. It's telling me, hey, wait a minute. I got something going on. I don't think this is very informative, and sometimes can be kind of confusing. But I could see what I'm missing here. I'm missing that closing of that. And now it says it must have an alt attribute. Now that's not entirely true. The alt attribute says that in case they can't view the image, what are you going to display? So we'll just save this, refresh, and you see it says have a nice day. Now, the next function I said that we're going to do is we're going to creep into JavaScript and we're going to do a beginning function here. And that function here, we're going to do a nice little attribute here on the image. I can hit enter here and it won't make any difference, just to make it clear, but all I'm going to do is on, and you can see all these on here. And here I got on click, on change, and I'm going to say on click. And what am I going to do when I on click? I'm going to do this function here. This is the easiest function that you'll find. And what I'm going to say is, you clicked me. Now, a few notes here. In JavaScript and in HTML, accordingly, we have double quotes and single quotes. Now, this double quotes here is supposed to be the string that gets passed on click. And if I were to put a double quote here, because I want a string inside, it would get very confused and say, well, that's ending. What is this other one that you're starting? So I'll just push a single click, and it allows this to be wrapped in a double quote, and this to be wrapped in a single quote. Very, very, very convenient. Okay, we'll save that. Refresh. Now when I click on it, you clicked me. Okay, and again, that's the creeping into JavaScript. We really haven't done any real JavaScript programming, but that's it for now. You might want to practice loading different images, putting different commands, and if you want to get adventuresome, explore some of the things that you can do with the image by just putting by just starting to write commands and then watching it, what it pops up. And you can kind of guess what a lot of those do. That's it for today.